everybody. So welcome to Wellness Wednesdays.
Wait, it's not on yet.
I see this.
I bet you it is. I bet you she says that, and then we're gonna watch later, and it's on.
Okay, you're on.
Are we
there
on?
she is. Summer.
Hi, Summer.
Yes, you're on.
Okay, good.
Okay, you're muted, Summer.
We can't hear you. You're talking to yourself or to somebody else, but you're muted.
We can't
Okay,
hear you.
go ahead.
I was telling somebody I had to get off the phone. Sorry.
She knew what was going on. She knew what was
All right.
happening.
Go ahead.
All right, I'm turning off my cell phone over here. I have my water. All is good in the world. We are actually on, right? Am
Yes.
I correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. Welcome to Wednesdays. See, this is what happened. I said it right the first time when we weren't recorded. Now we're recording and I can't talk. Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays. I'm really excited because I have my favorite people on. We have wonderful guests, and we are doing the women's version of what we covered with Black men last week, which was very powerful. I highly recommend you go, and it's recorded. You can watch it. Just wonderful hearing from Black men, what's going on in their hearts, what's going on in their lives, and how they're viewing themselves. And so today we're really excited to have Black women on and to be talking about our lives, our worlds, and how we're moving through it, and how we're managing in this very, very intense time in America. So welcome everyone, and Bahia will introduce the introduction.
Okay, introduce the introduction. Okay.
Yes.
So here's the thing. So today our topic of conversation, we're talking about Black women. We're talking to Black women about Black women, exploring love, exploring well-being, lack thereof, or how we sustain it, and also vulnerability. What does that mean? And so I'm actually going to ask everyone as their introduction to introduce themselves, their name, who they are, and really one way that you identify. And it doesn't have to be that you're, Black or how you're Black or whatever, but really something that really is key to who you are that you want to share. And I'm going to ask Adrian to face some light. You look like you're a witness protection. I'm gonna need you to put some light in front of your face or something. Like no, it's worse.
The other way.
Okay. So you got the window got to be in front of you, I think is what has to happen. Anyway, all right. So we'll start with someone. I'll pick Dorothy.
You know it was gonna be me. My water bottle fell. Okay. Hi, I'm Dorothy. Sorry, what was the question?
First, you're going to ask who you are. Thank you. And then one piece of a key piece of your identity. And you can describe
what makes you you. I mean, part of who you are that's important to you.
Okay. So I am Dorothy. Dorothy Janae Dixon Cortez. I am. What makes me me? I would say my love for children. I'm a nanny. I love what I do. To some, it's not a glamorous job. It's not, a lot of people are not trying to hang with kids all day, but I honestly love it. And the joy that children bring me, I don't have words for it. And until I am a mother myself, I am really grateful for this space that I get to be in every day, taking care of children, which I've been doing for a long time now, like 15 years. And so that I think that is something that really makes me me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mayada. We have a Jayata and a Mayada.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mayada. I am a pre-med student and also a doula, and I am also Black and a woman, and I'm also Muslim. And I think that pretty much sums up who I am. I kind of use all of those things to express who I am. So there's that.
Thank you.
Goddaughter.
And proud goddaughter of Bahia Overton.
Excellent, excellent. All righty, Auntie Sandy, how about you?
Well, I was hoping somewhere would go before me so I could kind of figure out what to say. I am a singer first, I think. That's what I enjoy the most, and calling on the Holy Spirit and just filling up the room, sending people energy by praying for folks. I'm a mother, but she's old, so I'm not mothering her anymore. You know, that's what happens when you get to be almost 30. And
Whoa, almost 30?
yeah, in October.
Oh my God. How
Yeah.
did it happen?
Yeah, see, well, we got stories. So, and I'm a caregiver. I take care of my father. He's 89, and he's still kicking. He says every day, getting old is a you know what, and that he would probably be not here if I wasn't taking care of him. So I'm grateful for that, and just trying to be a better person. You know,
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right, Summer.
My name is Summer McLean. I'm a Black woman, but I think the thing that defines me the most is like my unapologetic search for justice, whether it's social justice or like justice at McDonald's, you know. I'm gonna find the justice. No, yeah, I think I say unapologetically just because, you know, there's just something about injustice that keeps me from sleeping, you know. So I'm a daughter, I'm a friend, I'm a this, I'm a that, you know, but I think ultimately I'm a Black woman who is always searching for justice. So
Thank you.
Love that. All right. Auntie Renee, Auntie Nene.
Hi, everybody. Let's see. I'm Renee Dixon. I think the thing that makes me me is my desire to be of service to people. I'm just a supporter. When you do those personality things, I'm in the far corner of support. I guess my mantra is to wherever I can have loving, healing service. That's how I try to be. And I'm the very proud mother of Dorothy.
Hey.
And I love you all. And
I
it's good
remember
to be
both
here.
of those
Thank you.
daughters before they were in utero. It's just crazy. I
It
can't.
is.
Okay,
All right,
Grace.
okay.
All
right.
All right,
Now-
Miss Adrian.
There she is.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Adrienne Simmons, and I know Bahia through her grandmother is how we met initially. I try to be a caregiver to, I guess, my neighbors, my friends, my church family. When COVID hit, I was talking to a very good friend of mine, and she said, I've gained 25 pounds. And I said, I want to come out of COVID better than I did before I went in. So I've become an avid walker. I'm and set a goal, and I'm very proud to, it's a small goal, but I've been averaging over 100 miles a month since June. And I've committed to trying not to lead as sedentary a life as I have been in the past. I love pets. I try to love people, and I really try to find a way to do something for somebody else each and every day. That gives me a lot of fulfillment. And I'm very concerned about what's going on in the world today. So I read a lot so I can try to talk to my daughter. Amy, I have one daughter, she's 39, and trying to navigate Instagram, Facebook, understand the emojis, try to understand what I'm reading so I can be fluent when I speak to my daughter. And thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank
This
you.
is just so sweet because having someone connected to me, I'm so close to my grandma and she couldn't be here. So I really appreciate you standing in that space for us today. So I appreciate
Thank you.
All righty. Carita.
Hi, everybody. I'm Karita. It's good to see everybody here. I guess if I was to pinpoint one thing, I would say being a dancer is something that I identify with very closely. It's a gift my parents gave me, from the time I was like 3, I think. And it's carried me to so many amazing places in my life. It's how I got connected to the Baha'i faith and becoming a Baha'i. It took me to New York and different places around the world. It's a connection I share with my husband. My husband is also a dancer, and that's also a gift that we share with our children. So,
Thank you.
All right, Jayada.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here with so many people that I love. Like, these are the people that I love in the world, so it's amazing. My name is Jayada Jefferson Femoy Fiafi. I'm a Black woman. I never used to have to say that until I married into the name Femoy Fiafi. And then I have to let people know, while I am married to a Polynesian, I'm a Black woman. I've been a mental health therapist for a lot of years, 20 plus years.
Woo, really? Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you not remember the good old days of financial aid and the Graduate School of Social Work?
God, yes.
It has been over 20 years that I've been a therapist. And interestingly, I would typically identify that as a large part of my identity because it's what I do. It's the work that I've done. And we're talking, which fits really well with what we're talking about today with vulnerability and wellness, because my children and I experienced a major trauma a couple years ago. And to avoid vicarious trauma, I won't go into detail right now, but my children and I experienced a really major trauma, and I'm now experiencing PTSD. And as a result, I don't like to use all those clinical cliche words like sympathy fatigue, but it's mostly my priorities have changed and rearranged because stuff got deep. And now my priorities are somewhere else. So it's really hard for me to sit and listen to Susie talk about how she's upset with her mom. And it really is. It's very important. But I'm talking about some stuff that's life or death over here. Sure. And so I'm on hiatus right now from the way in which I've been a therapist in the past. So I've practiced, I've worked with eating disorders and body positivity and identity development and fat stigma and anti-fat bias for many years. But like I said, I'm kind of on hiatus from that. One of the other big parts of my identity, and I think part of the reason I'm a therapist, is because I feel like I'm a truth seeker and I'm a listener and hearer of truth. And it's important to me to allow people to have a space to be themselves and to show up authentically, and my place to hear that and help people to identify and to develop their own identity.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Dr. Joy, would you like to go?
I would. Someone asked me, was I ever afraid? I do a lot of stuff. People know I've done a lot of stuff and I'm out there, and I'm always afraid. Okay, let me just say that. I have lived my entire life afraid, but it never stopped me. I never let the fear stop me, but I would never say to someone, I'm good. I'm not, and what I mean by that, I'm not fearful. And most of that fear, I want to speak to my identity, because my identity for me is I want to help people heal. I want to help people love themselves. I think that's even more of it. I want people to love themselves, because there's nothing that I guess hurts me more than seeing someone that can't see that they're worthy of love. They're worthy of love. And so in a lot of ways, I'm echoing what everyone, the arts, which have been a real important part of my life, those who are or demanding justice than those who are truth seekers. And because all of that is about letting people be their full best selves. And I'm committed to that. I'm committed to that. And I think I hesitate to say that I am a healer, but maybe I'm more of a helper. I told Renee when we were very, very young, I said, I hope when I grow up, I can be like you, because she has a natural, intuitive way of giving, of sensing need. And, I don't always, but I appreciate having people in my life that reflect that. But I want to say that I want to help people know they're worthy of being loved.
It's interesting because I feel like we've stacked the deck on the compassion side in this particular group. Everybody here, I know that even Sandy, was a nurse for many years. I don't know if she still is, but she's just an active, actually employed nurse. So the caregiving piece is aligned throughout all of this. It's interesting because my mother told me when I was really small, my dad, I was really little, they're like, Bahia means light, and you have a light. And so, never let anyone extinguish that light. And so I think when I think about my identity, my whole life, having planted that seed in me has been to show up to a place and brighten the space, right? Wherever I show up, I want to brighten the space, either lift it up, make people feel lifted in the space. And so as a therapist, that was what I wanted to do with my folks, as a friend, as a wife, all those places, like how can I, and a mom, how can I lift, a little bit too much as a mom, maybe light into the space. But yeah, I think that those are the things that have attracted us all to one another. And one way or another is all of us are lifters of and bringers of light, whether it's through dance or arts or music or healing, or therapy. It's exciting. So let's dive into this topic, shall we? So here's the thing, I was having this conversation with different men in my life, men that I know, friends of mine, people I just met. And last week we talked to a couple of them, and one guy, he has a group called, he has an Instagram page called All Men Cry. And it's all around him having conversations with men, a lot around vulnerability. And so it was just interesting. I watched a couple of them. I was like, these are fascinating. So I inboxed him, DM'd him like, hey, want to come on Wellness Wednesday? And then I was introduced by Faith. A lot of you guys know Faith Holmes, to a guy named Yusha, who has a program called With Great Care. And he talks about how doing everything with great care. He's a Muslim brother, does a lot of work in the DC area, and said that he was asking men, he has this whole problem called the Heal Me program, where he talks to men about, what was their Job moment, or the moment where they were at their lowest, and what was the thing that was most transformational. And certain things kept coming up: love, therapy, and vulnerability. Like those things, he said, consistently with Black men, he found were the things that helped them get through where they were to somewhere else. And so that was an interesting topic for all Black people: love, well-being, a sense of balance and health, and vulnerability, because it's counterintuitive in this society to be vulnerable, right? When everybody's kind of gunning for you. So I guess I'm gonna throw this out here, and everyone doesn't have to answer everyone kind of what you speak to, but I would really love to hear, when you think about the word love, or what you think a piece of what that means, to tell us when you think about what it means to love or to be loved, what does that look like, to paint that picture for us? Because as diverse as we are here, we're all Black women here, and we all look all kinds of ways, but we identify with our Blackness. That's what keeps us, kind of in the same stream. So how does that look for you? Anyone can start.
Well, I'll start.
Surprise, surprise.
Well, I mean, not to be redundant when it comes to the justice thing, but also to me, like, love looks a lot of ways, of course, love looks very different than it used to, now. Before, years ago, I was a crumbling mess, and I was in a deep depression. And what Joy said about wanting people to know that you're worthy of love, and, that you're worthy of this, as she's talking, I'm thinking of those conversations that we've had. And I'm like, "Rah!" You know, like I'm not gonna cry, but I want to, because I'm like, yes, that's, you know, like that's what it was. And there was a lot of love poured into me, and so much Bahia, just like her light, you know, I'm just like, there it is. And trying to like, you know, I'm just like, I need it. And it was incredibly healing. But now at this point in my life, I also see like, I was given so much love at that time, really just unselfishly, especially from like you two, just, and now that I'm out of it, I'm like, oh God, you know what I mean? I'm like, that was a lot, but so I do try to give it back. You know, I definitely, and I'm more aware, but for me, there is nothing there. Like, I don't feel love more than when somebody stands up for me, but I also don't feel betrayed more when somebody doesn't. You know what I mean? So that's the hard part of it, where I'm like, I'm very passionate about everything. Like I said, like I'm passionate about like a candy bar. You know what I'm saying? If it tastes good enough. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, for me, so the way that I experience love and the way that love has healed me and has also hurt is, you know, people standing up for me. Because when you stand up for me, you're being vulnerable, you're putting yourself out there, you're vouching for me. You're saying, this is a person I'm going to put my name on. This is a person I love. This is a person I want to heal, you know? But again, in the same breath, you know, because that's how I see a big part of love, it's also betrayal when I don't have that, you know?
Thank you.
Can I go next? I had a thought. I was thinking what Summer said is true. So right when she was talking about that, I was thinking what love is like an exchange. And to me, love is deeds. Because love that's just talk, it's just talk. It can be pretty talk. You know, it can be amazing talk, but it's just talk if it's not done with deeds. And then I was thinking about self-love. We are all so hard on ourselves. Everybody is hard on themselves, you know. And the other day I forgot to say, I was so worried about defining myself, because the Black woman part I got down, but the other part, I didn't say that. And like Jayada, I feel the need to say I am a light-skinned Black woman. I was talking to my grandkids, though, who are brown, and my little granddaughters especially, and I looked them in the eye and I was telling them how beautiful they were, because I wanted them to know that Nana sees them. We had so much time apart, you know? And so I got to see them a month or so ago, and because they live in Arizona and I'm in California. And I got down on my knees and I was looking at them, and they looked away from me, and it broke my heart that they wouldn't. And I made them look back and say, I love you. You're beautiful. You're strong. You're smart. You know, I want you to know these things about themselves, until they took it in, you know, till they took it in and they looked me back in the eye. I just kept telling them their virtues. So I think we need to be kinder to ourselves. And self-care is really important right now. So good job, Jayada, because yeah, you got to do what you got to. If you don't take care of yourself, we can't be there for everybody else. And I think Black women, more than anybody, any other woman, is a caregiver.
Yes, thank you so much, Nene.
I was going to piggyback off of that, because to me, what love means to me is to be seen. Like when somebody sees me, I feel loved. And I'm going to just go like say from my parents. So my dad, without words, knows what I need. My mom, not so much, but like I have to say it. My dad can see a look on my face and be like, she doesn't want to do that. Like, and I like literally no words. He'll just look at me and know what it is that I need. And he sees me in that way. Also on the topic of vulnerability, like he taught me it's okay to cry. I learned that from my dad. I think my mom has had to be so strong for so long that, not that she doesn't cry, but she doesn't like to get caught up in that emotion. It's like, okay, this, like the service oriented part of her, it's like, okay, this is sad, but now what? Like, what is the action? And so, but my mom does see me. It took me a long time to realize that, but it's in just little things. Like on my 20th birthday, she had a women's circle where she wanted everyone to bring something to honor me. And I was like, I don't want that. Like, why? Like, and it was only women, like only women. I'm like, what about my boyfriend? You know what I mean? It was like, come on, why? Why are we doing this? And I don't like attention on me, even on my birthday. Like, I was like, that felt like too many people. Like, why are we doing this? But that was one of the best birthdays I've ever had. Like my auntie Kathy, she brought me a stack of books. To this day, I still have and reread a lot of them, because those things, and it was really amazing to have these women present me with things and honor me with these things in a way that they saw me, you know. So my aunt knew that I needed these books to read, and you know, my mom knew that I needed these women around me. For my bridal shower, my mom had everyone give me a virtue, and they put it on a mirror that I have hanging in my room. And so it says things like vulnerable and compassion and empathetic and true friend and caring and spiritual and fearless, you know, pure. These things that it's like, you know, reminders. She created a actual physical mirror of the women who are my mirrors, who see, like, reflect back to me who I am. And that's so important. So to me, love is to be seen.
Thank
Mom,
you.
I love you.
No, I'll call on you if you don't go. Okay, I did say everybody didn't have to go, but if anyone else wants to go with that question before we move on. Okay.
Sandy.
Okay. Oh, Jada, did you want to go?
For those two, you go 1 and 2.
Go ahead, Sandy.
Okay, because I'm older. That's why. I'm in the coming into my elder years. I'm an elder now. How did that happen? I kept living. I guess that's what happened. I think love. I'm still learning what love is. It's everything that everybody already said, especially love as an action, and love has your back, and love doesn't quit. My relationship with my husband has grown. It's one of those things that, I don't know, some people like fall in love and it's like, oh, it's just wonderful and it's all this and huggy, touchy and all that stuff. And that lasts for about a year. And then after that, it's all work. I mean, if it is not work, I'm happy for you. But I'm just grateful that we didn't quit on each other. And I love him very much. I love these people on this camera that me, that I haven't seen before in a long time. I still love you, even though I haven't seen you. And when I see your faces, my heart swells and I know that I'm loved. And love is service. When I can't, my husband, I'll switch gears, but my husband tells me I'm a really hard person to surprise. You can't surprise me because I'm always, looking. I'm a nurse. I'm a registered nurse. I'm a hospice nurse. I go in people's houses and I'm looking at everything. I can tell you what's in every corner within the first 3 minutes, especially if I'm looking for that little blue book that we have to have. I don't know where it is. There it is. I'll find it. So I can see, a lot of things, and I have learned that love is a lot of times not saying anything, not pointing out that thing that needs to be fixed, and maybe making a suggestion. Like I wanted to be Joy. Joy has this really wonderful way of not pointing out things, but you know what she's talking about. She says it's so nice that you want to fix it. I said, I want to be like that, because mine is like, you know, I don't like that. And this is what you need to do. Now I have learned that love is also a an ability to do that when necessary. That's a really good tool to have when you can when you can read somebody, and that's the best, most loving and compassionate thing that you can do to get somebody off the ledge. You know, you have to tell them about themselves. You have to tell them who they are, uh, that what they did wrong, but they can fix it. You have to be all of that. So love is all of those things, and I really appreciate. I just can't tell you how much love I'm feeling off of this screen just looking at you guys. It's a beautiful thing, and I love Bahia. I carried her out of the hospital when she was a teeny baby because Henry was too scared to. She's so little, and I have, you know, learned more of. One of the other things I wanted to say is that love is asking questions. I've learned more about people that I love in the last 5 years than I ever knew about them, because I started asking them questions. I was so wrapped in my own stuff that I could peek out for little bits of time and see what everybody else was doing, but I had to try to take care of my own stuff for fear that I wasn't lovable. You know, I was afraid that if they saw too much of me, that they wouldn't love me. But they saw me anyway. I mean, the emperor has no clothes. They always saw me. So I'm just grateful that you guys continued to love me and let me put my clothes on and just you know, just be up in here with.
Thank you. Jayada?
I really feel like love has to do with how one innately reacts or responds to the well-being of another person or thing, right? So you, without thinking about it, without intentionally doing it, want for the well-being of another person. Because I have people who love me, they interact with me, they do all kind of things that don't feel good necessarily, don't feel great, but I know that what they're doing is solely for my well-being in their mind. Sometimes it's just in their mind, because sometimes that's not what I think they're doing in my mind. But what I know, and I have this understanding, and I know that for myself, when I think about the people who I love, you know, my kids, my family, even people that, you know, you know how sometimes there are people you don't even know well, but you love them. You love them. And what you know is that the way that you respond to them and what you do is that their well-being is first. Now, not necessarily before your own, but sometimes before your own, that your whatever way in which you respond to them or whatever way you come at them or whatever your energy is with theirs, it's about their well-being. And for me, that's how I know and acknowledge and see love.
I love that. Oh, you want to go, Adrian? Go ahead, Miss.
Well, I don't want to be left out. I guess when I think about love, I think about somebody expressing care and concern. Again, that's an adjective, but I do respect and appreciate those that uh, express love in a different way. But like one of the panelists said, we can all talk about a lot of things, and I'm old enough in life to understand that it's good to talk. But it's also nice to know that somebody picked up the phone, or somebody sent me a card, or somebody just said, "Hey, you matter to me." And that's important to me as I grow older. Now, I have one daughter, and it's what I'm learning to do is trying to support her and show her love without smothering her. But I want her to be strong enough to stand on her own feet, and trying to negotiate the isolation, social media, the things that you have to do to try to survive, because she works for a government entity, but she also is a business owner. So putting herself out there. So trying to be supportive and show her, just like Jayada said, I'm sure my daughter, if she was here, she would say, in my mind, I'm doing things that show that I love my daughter. I'm not sure my daughter thinks that the same thing, but I've been around long enough, and we've experienced enough where she could come back now and say, Mom, I see what you're trying to do. You love me, and you were trying to prepare me. And then as I grow older, I'm single, and I think about, you know, companionship, and this whole COVID thing has forced us to communicate and interact with people in a different way. And I think I have made a commitment to reach out to at least four times a month to somebody, just to say, you matter. I mean, the world is the way it is, and life is the way it is, and families are the way they are. But I just want you to know that you matter to me. And I think that makes me feel good. I feel like I'm giving because it makes me feel good to give, because it's also good to love. It's good to be loved. It's good to be seen. And it's also, as a Black woman, it's good to be heard,
Oh,
because having spent 25 years in the work world with a Fortune 500 company, sometimes I wasn't always heard.
mm.
So I try to be mindful of that and try to be nurturing, particularly with young women, to say, you have a voice. You need to speak up, and you need to not be afraid, because you've earned the right to be in some of these rooms.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
amazing. You know, and it's this is such a great space, because I think that one of the things that we have to that I love about the diversity of people who are here, just personality wise, which was driving you, how you identify, because we're not a monolith, right? We get put into this place that this is what a Black woman is, or this is what a Black woman is not.
Yep.
And stereotypes about us, and these different things, and then we're constantly being robbed, right, of everything that we create. So it's one of those things where I love an opportunity for people to be able to see and celebrate the diversity here. And there's no hate here. There's no hate. There's no competition. This is all about love. And the thing is, one of the things that I talk to my staff, and I run a Black organization for Black children and families, has to do with, and one of the things that Dr. Ruha Benjamin says a lot is, beaming love and beaming light into other people, right? That part of why we started Wellness Wednesday was to be able to do that. And I think that it's so important for people to be able to see us in a diversity of ways. We're fully human people, right? So that leads me to my next question, which has to
First,
do
was there anyone else that wanted to share? Okay.
Okay. Just checking. So now we want to talk a little bit about well-being, right? When you think about well-being, this society right now is showing its ass. Like, it's very, very clear. Ass hanging out, just saying. And we're watching and we're like, okay, everybody sees this ass hanging out. Everybody sees it. And how are we going to live our lives? I mean, because the thing is, we can't ignore the fact that it's out, but we also are having to live and work around it and do stuff and try to sustain. So, I think about that all the time, like literally, like I know what I'm looking at, right? But I still have to function and work to, take care of everybody around that ass. So I actually am interested.
Okay, I'm mad at the image that is now in my mind.
Listen, but it is.
Plumber. Just add plumber, and it's
plumber.
terrible.
Exactly. Crack in a lot of ways. Crack kills. Anyway, point is, I want to think about how is it that we are sustaining or creating that? Because one of the things that my therapist told me was, maintain your well-being and having self-love is not the same as self-care. Self-care is a piece of that, but that's a whole nother level. So how do you, and I realize that when sleeping and resting and, exercising and feeling good in my body, feeling good in my mind. So I would love for you guys to share some things that either you're trying to do or that have been successful to kind of maintain or create a sense of peace and well-being for you.
Asking for it. I do want to say that because I think there's all this talk about self-care. You go to work and they have these self-care talks, and I'm like, hold on, you're asking me to do something extra on top of what I'm already doing, and then you're like shaming me for not doing it. Like, I don't have the time, the energy, the space. You tell me to go to a gym, I just worked, I'm going home, I'm cooking dinner, like, and then I feel shame because I'm not self-caring. Like, come on. I mean, I think part of what self-care is asking for care and asking for support and asking for help when you need. Black women are expected to do more than any other person in society. And not only are we asked, but we're not just expected. Thank you. It's not just expected of us. we internalize it and we expect it of ourselves. It becomes who we are and we believe it about ourselves. And then I found myself in the past being resentful of that term, self-care. Because I'm like, well, okay, I need someone else to care. I need someone to help me with this self-care. So I like the kind of self-care that involves, I like dosha. I like the self-care that involves someone else coming to do the things that I normally would have to do. Someone else coming to clean the house and someone else cooking and someone else doing that while I go to the spa. And I call that self-care. Sorry.
All righty then. Hey, I'm with that.
Add on to that one. It's definitely been a challenge in the pandemic and all of that to add self-care to the list of things that got a lot longer that we got to do because we're in a pandemic. Like I have 2 small children and all of a sudden having to go without childcare and any outside help and stuff. And so my husband and I have been managing a lot and I've just gotten really burnt out, and I had to try to find some ways to ingest this idea. I've had like business coaches tell me like rest is a part of the work. Rest is a part of the work. And I'm like, it didn't compute. I'm like, I hear it, but I don't hear it. Like keep going. Like you don't rest, it's like, so I, realized how many ways I was kind of pushing myself with, caffeine and a little sugar and a little this just to like squeeze a little bit more out of myself. And being really, burnt out because of that, and having to kind of dig in and ask myself, and also, ask my husband for a little more support than he already gives, and he does a lot, But for my birthday, I told him my birthday dream was 48 hours. 48 hours, like, you want to know what my birthday dream is? I wish he could come with me. I really do. I was like, I wish it could be us, but since they're 3 and 5, I'll take the wish for myself. Like my birthday wish is 48 hours. I don't need to leave town. I went downtown to a hotel for 48 hours. And he gave me that huge gift of that space, which was so valuable, just to have like some silence and to just, as Bahia says, brush only one set of teeth in a day, and not, other people's teeth, and when they don't want it done anyway, and all of that, but just the piece of it and being actually able to sleep longer. Because even when I would give myself the space to sleep longer, my mind would wake me up with, more things. But being in a hotel room, just I could actually sleep 8 hours because I don't know, like my muscle memory wasn't like someone's going to wake up or something's going to happen, like all the other things. And so being able to take that space was really important.
Karina knows I used to break out all the time, break out to New York. And then she and Kimmy, the single ladies of New York, would be like, great, now you can cook for us. No, no, I'm coming here to not do all the stuff that I have to do. Breaking out.
More Kimmy than me. I'm just going to say that. That was more Kimmy than me.
Yeah.
Just going to say that.
I know.
Mayada, we want to hear from you.
Well, first of all, I'm enjoying what everyone has already said, but I would say that self-care is really what the term says, like self. You have to think about yourself, and I think it doesn't look the same for everyone. So if you don't really think about, it's saying self-care, so you have to think about what you would do for you, not what someone else would do for them. Maybe self-care for you is not the same as going, I don't know, just they're not the same for everyone. So I think that you have to learn about yourself so that you know what it is that will help you de-stress or will help you be able to take the time for yourself. So yeah, that's what I would add.
Thank you.
Can I say something about the term self-care that I hate, actually, but whatever. Like, I think that a lot of people have like self-cared their way out of action or self-cared their way into inaction, you know? And so it's like, I had the displeasure of engaging in like a 3-day long racist Facebook argument, you know? And there are a lot of people who were watching it from the outside. I mean, there were hundreds of people who were watching it, messaging this person. But the thing was, it was about racism, and I couldn't stop. But a lot of people were messaging me about self-care. And I was like, yeah, this doesn't feel amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like losing sleep. And then I was talking on the phone with my mom. I actually took a screenshot. I was like, what? We were on the phone for 2.5 hours. I didn't even realize while it was happening, because my mom's like, what did they say? Oh no, tell them, you know what I mean? And I'm like, what? But what people don't understand, and I get this a lot about the whole self-care thing, is that they're like, Summer, this can't feel good. No, it feels like hell. But I know that there are people watching. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, for me to walk away, I do walk away from some stuff, you know, like I'll believe it or not. But it's there. I obviously we have to have this. This isn't even necessarily to like Black women. So maybe I shouldn't even be saying this, but I think that a lot of people, like Black women, a lot of us cannot have self-care, you know, in terms of even social justice. I care about other things too, but I'm just saying, you know, a lot of us cannot have self-care if other people aren't doing work as well. You know what I'm saying? So when I hear self-care, I'm not thinking about white women's self-care. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, self-care. And I'm like, oh, you know, you don't have to talk about everything. I'm like, we do have to talk about everything. You think I have a choice to talk about George Floyd? You think I don't have a choice. You know what I'm saying? It's because it's literally who I am. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have a choice. And so my self-care isn't just, you know, pending on what white people can do to take the burden off of me, but I do pick and choose. But there's that thing where I really, you know, again, this isn't exactly it, but it's the self-care thing that kills me, is like, for people who are watching, when they message me and say, I have no idea what you're feeling, but I'm here. I'm like, well, I hope you're feeling devastation, because this is devastating. You know, like, you don't have to feel devastation as a Black woman, but you can feel devastation. And so you're making more work for me when you are in my inbox with that, because I also have to somehow coddle you, because I love you. You're white. I love you, but I want to be like, say something then. So part of my self-care, I know this sounds petty, I just unfollow people now. because I don't have self-control. You know what I'm saying? I've had to delete 3 comments in the last day on 2 people because somebody wrote a book and I hate the title and I hate the premise of it. I have had to delete 3 because I'm like, Summer, you know where this is gonna go. Like, that's my self-care. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have it in me to not be like, now I got to tell you about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because so it's like, for the people who are watching, because I know there are a lot of people who are watching and a lot of people who are like, I'm white, I'm doing the work. You have to understand that when you're checking in on us and saying, how are you feeling? How are you doing? I can't self-care if I have to tell your friends and family how this is wrong too. Let me self-care, let me take a break, but we still got to talk about the police killing all these people. I don't have to give you permission to do it. So if you don't see it on my page, that doesn't mean that I don't care. It means that I can't handle it, but you better be able to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
You do. Thank you.
You do it.
Hi, Jaya.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the same thing about safety, right? That when we have meetings, I'm like, everybody should feel safe. What safety means for me is very different what safety means for you. We had a whole conversation yesterday in my Bahai community around this whole term, like, you're not going to get shanked or cut. you're just uncomfortable. So we're not going to title that safety. You know what I'm saying? You feel you not being comfortable doesn't mean that that's your safety. I don't feel safe. No, you just don't feel comfortable. And that's not the same thing. If you think I'm going to knife you, then you can say I'm feeling unsafe. But outside of that, that's too much self-care on that part.
You better watch yourself saying such words. Woo-hoo.
Better watch it.
I am with you.
Could happen. All right, somebody else. Some self-care, well, we want to say self-care. We'll just say well-being.
Don't let me ruin it. I'm not trying to ruin it. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying we can call it other things. It doesn't have to be that.
We're all authentic here. You get to be you. You get to be you.
Okay, Sandy.
Okay, so I think being with like-minded women is self-care for me, as much as I can be. Men are cool. I love y'all. Being around men that really get me is self-care for me. Somebody mentioned that earlier. And not being on Facebook is self-care for me. I don't have time. Most of the time, unless I have something to say or somebody messages me something, I get a really great, because I'll sit and spend like a whole day looking at all of these comments on Facebook, and I'm like, how do you get rid of this stuff? Can I un-Facebook? So I just don't, I just go on. That's why when she said this is on Facebook, I said, okay. So I was invited, so I'm just happy to be amongst you. Self-care is saying how I feel it to who I need to say it to. That's the best thing. If I, you coddle people, I think of it in terms of this is Joy. How can I say this in a way that they will receive it? I need for you to understand this about this situation. That's self-care for me. Self-care is going to get in a mineral spa and just being quiet, putting my head under the water and floating, and sometimes self-care is enabling someone else to care, for their family member. It helps me if you can do this while I do this. Like if I go into a situation in someone's home and it's chaotic, that beaming light and love, it really works, because I will leave and people say, you came in like a ray of light, you kind of breath of fresh air. And within, 30 minutes, everything is kind of calmed down. What did I do? I just beamed light and I went to work. I said, okay, this is what I see to do. Would you help me do this? Would you help me do that? That's self-care for me, because then I can do my job and I can feel good about it. And that's me doing my job and feeling good about it is self-care. When I don't want to go to work, then I don't go to work. I'm like, I have a headache. I don't feel good. How much PTO do I have? How much paid time off do I have? Can I not go? It's real simple. When I'm not serving, or I don't feel like I can step up, I just take a break from everything. I might not get 48 hours, except for I'm going to do that the next time I get some time off, Karita. I'm going to take 48 hours and go away. That's the greatest idea, and I think that's what I miss most about being on the road. That when I was singing and I wasn't nursing, and I would be able to go all over the country, not really, seeing the sights and stuff, but I could see my friends, and I could sleep late and I could think thoughts without any interruption until it was time to go to sound check. I could wake up in the morning and sleep until it's time to go, and then do my gig, and then go back to my hotel room or go downstairs and have some coffee or tea and just chill. I really miss that. So I think I have to, thank you for reminding me, because I have to draw on those memories to remember that I used to do that kind of stuff, which helps probably, where is he? He left the room. Helped nurture my marriage by me being away. Just let me, I need to go. You go. You on the road? Yes. Thank you. Get a break. And then when you come back, I love you a whole lot. I love you because
thank you for letting me miss you.
I just let me miss you. Get up out from under me. Who nobody likes that.
Wait. Oh, okay. So wait, I want to see if anyone has something, because we don't have that much time, but I want to get into this last question.
Okay, let's get to the last question.
Okay, so here's the thing. This is so deep. So one of the things that I have been thinking a lot about is around the idea of vulnerability, right? And I remember I worked in foster care for a lot of years, and I would get an older Black lady, and they would say, "Well, she's not very loving to her foster kids." And the older Black lady who was fostering would say, "If I didn't love them, I wouldn't put clothes on their back. They wouldn't have a bed to sleep in. I would," right? This is the kind of, right? And I said, okay, what we're looking for, I said, she clearly loves these kids. So what you're saying is loving is actually demonstrations of tenderness. You want to see demonstrations of tenderness. I can explain to her that what we want to see is not that you loving them, because she does love them, but demonstrating tenderness. And that is tied into vulnerability. And I know this is a difficult thing because I've talked to many Black women, and I am one, if you didn't know. Just kidding, of course you know. But the idea of, like, I used to look at my husband, and I would say to myself, "Do you touch him? Like, just like touch him." Like, so one day I went over and I just kind of just told myself, just touch him. So I put my hand on his shoulder, and he was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh my God, touch this man." I would touch him. But I realized, like, that level of, if I think I'm an affectionate person because I like to receive affection. You know, my child told me the other day, and I was like, "I wouldn't get hugs if I didn't ask you for a hug." And I was like, "Oh my God, I need to hug this child more," right? So it's the idea of demonstrating tenderness and that challenge, right? What does that mean for Black women to demonstrate tenderness when we have so much, when we're doing so much to care for people? The demonstrating tenderness piece is hard for folks. A lot of people, they feel like, it's not that they would say it's weakness consciously, but there's this sense of it that it's just not an easy thing to do for folks. I just wanted to see if you can weigh in on that and how that ties into vulnerability. Yes,
I would love to weigh in on that.
go ahead.
Vulnerability and this whole idea, because everyone knows that the Degruys, my family, when we say the Degruys, everyone knows what that means, right? The Degruys, I grew up in a household where if you wanted
Someone would say, "Hide your feelings." No, I'm just kidding.
right?
The Degruys are here. Hide your feelings.
Hide your feelings. If you want to get in, you got to jump in, right? I remember people going, "Gosh, it's just, everybody is so rude." I said, "We're not rude. If you want to be heard, you just got to jump in. That's how we roll." But what I realized, I love my family, first of all, dearly. I'm writing a book about my family's journey, and our whole journey. Our spiritual journey, our journey as Black people, that transition from the South, all those things. But one of the things that I realized what Bahia said, and what Bahia said speaks to an experience I had. My parents were very loving, but they weren't physically demonstrative, meaning that, I know that I felt the warmth, but I didn't get hugged a lot that I can remember. That I don't have memories of a lot of hugs. I know I got them, but they were not a normal, regular thing. And it never occurred to me until I had children. And then I realized that I didn't like being hugged, right? So I didn't like being hugged. I wasn't accustomed to it. I wasn't a hugger. I would actually avoid people because I thought they were going to try to hug me, right? Honestly. And then I realized that I had to do the deep dive. Those of you that know, I do work on historical trauma and all of that. I'm trying to let me try to figure out what this is that I have internalized about that physical touch. And I started to realize that in my mind, which becomes really important with children, we create the reason if there isn't one. We create it and we hold on to it, and it stays somewhere packed in us till we don't remember why anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened to me. So I said to my children, because I don't want you to feel what I feel and don't even understand why, because I can't remember why. But somewhere that little kid figured out why and held on to it. So I said to my children, I came home from work. I mean, I pondered. People know I ponder things and then I act on them. And I said, "Listen, Mommy has a problem. Will you help me?" Yes. Yes, we'll help your children. Yes, we're going to help Mommy. I said, "Here's the problem. Mommy has a problem with hugs and hugging. And I just want you to know. Now, my thought was, I just want you to know it's my problem, not yours, right? This is the psychologist in me is going, I'm letting you know that any hugging, so that you don't internalize some kind of crazy because of me. And so that was great. But I didn't know that the kids got together and figured out how to help mom. And so I came home the next day and they went, Mom's home, group hug. And they all rushed and hugged me, right? They would do it every day.
She hugged you like this.
It was, I did. I'd hug people like this. It was excruciating. It was excruciating for me until it wasn't. My children hugging me every day made me a hugger. But the first few, I couldn't say, get off me. You know, it was like, and after a while, I melted. I looked forward to the group hug and I became a hugger. Everybody who knows me knows now I'm a hugger. But what I'm saying is these things are so deep. I don't remember how I internalized it as a child. I don't know why it became something that, you know, that I didn't want to happen. Maybe because I didn't want to have to feel the responsibility of responding. I don't even know. I can't intellectually figure it out. But I know that as a woman, as a mother, we carry so much. And I appreciate and I thank my children for taking me at my word. She said she needed help and they helped me. And they literally, the practice literally saved me. And it opened me up in a way I didn't know. So that vulnerability it's difficult because it wasn't comfortable at first, but it was the best thing that ever happened.
So I have comment, but Dorothy, did you want to go first? You sure? Okay. Vulnerability, I think, should be a virtue because it isn't an easy thing. It's so hard and it isn't a virtue. I keep looking for it on virtue lists, but nope. But vulnerability is the key to intimacy. You know, we have a lot of, I just hear a lot of, over the years, I've been married 36 years. And you know, a lot of people come up and ask me questions and want to know, but a lot of people, intimacy is an issue and they want to know, what can I do to fix that? And then you have to be vulnerable in order to be intimate with someone. And I don't mean, and it's usually associated with sex or physical touch, you know, but being vulnerable and being open, asking for things, asking for a hug, asking for tenderness isn't an easy thing for people to do, you know. Turning over and showing that soft underbelly of yourself. You know, you'd rather have your prickly pearls, you know, quills like the porcupine. I was thinking, I saw recently some study that had been done, and it shows a mother kissing a child on the forehead and how the brain lights up when that happens. You know, it was so fascinating. And it happens even to adults, you know, so it is a really important thing. And I'm a hugger. I hug everybody. Everybody knows that. Bahia gets freaked out all the time. I hug her anyway.
Not hugging, the kissing. She's a kisser. That's the part for me. I'm always like, and she's coming in.
Not everybody. Just you, because I know it bugs you. Because you're such a germaphobe.
No, she kisses me on the mouth. She kisses me on the mouth. That freaks me out every time.
You were a baby.
It still freaks me out. But I take it just because I love you so much. But I'm always like, oh, here it comes.
You're not going to make it weird. I'm your auntie. Okay.
Don't let her make it weird. She makes everything weird.
So Jean did not know how to hug.
You know,
my husband, yes, my husband did not grow up hugging. He's tall, thin man, and it was like hugging an ironing board when we met. He didn't bend. It was, you know, and I'm like, I'm pretty short, so in order for this to work, you're gonna have to bend, you know. but he is the most affectionate now. He's the one who will hold Dorothy. He knows what she needs, and he has always been affectionate ever since he had our children. After we had our children, but he didn't get raised with that. You know, he wasn't raised by a mom that hugged and showed affection. And children need touch. You know, you've seen a lot of studies about that. Joy can probably quote where they come from. And teachers touching children. It's so sad now because they'll get sued if they touch a child, but kids need to know you care. So you have to find a different way to let them know. And I think honoring them and looking in their eye is the way to know if they're not your child, and you can't touch them and kiss them like B. You have to find a way to let them know you're loved, they're loved. And I come from a family of sarcastic humor, you know, so, and quick wit. And that is not a good combination when Eugene Dixon's wife, who's the most sensitive soul in the world, and he's very sweet. And I had to actually literally bite my tongue. You know, it never bled, but I used to have to really bite down hard not to throw a zinger, you know, because it would chip away at him. You know, I actually could see where the damage was done. And if I had continued, I don't know if I'd be married. You know, I don't know if he could sustain it. He was just that sensitive. He toughened up. And even with that, he said, even with that, you still hurt my feelings sometimes. Even though I've gotten better at it and he's gotten tougher, it still doesn't land well sometimes. So you have to figure out, I just would tack them up in my head, you know, because throwing the dart, as Joy used to say, and getting that point isn't always worth, you know, it isn't worth the damage it's doing. And so you pay the price.
Yes.
Thanks.
I think of this relates a little bit to another thought I had about self-care, but the idea of vulnerability involving silence. Sometimes, I think sometimes when we're in an insecure space, like that underbelly kind of a space that Renee was talking about, I think it's easy to do more, try to do more, like try to say more, like try to justify yourself, justify your space. If I just do one more thing, people will love me more. If I just, you know, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough. And I know that I have that, you know, I know so many Black women have that. You know, it's like I just need to keep it talking. I just need to keep saying something else to convince people to love me, or, you know, that I love them, or like I have to just keep moving. You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes the thing to do is just to stand, you know, with the work that you've done, with a certain amount of faith, you know, and faith is this very vulnerable kind of a thing too, to trust, you know, for me, like trust in God that there will be an answer, you know, if I sit still with the prayer that I'm, you know, that I have in my heart or that I've voiced. You know, in business, I know, you know, every sister got a side hustle. Every, you know, like every sister here got a side hustle. Like if they're, you know, in our side hustles to raise our prices, to ask for the higher salary that everybody else is getting that we ain't getting, you know, and stand in our value. You know, I remember like, you know, one of the first times I was asking for a raise when I was working for somebody else, and I had to like Google it, like, because I'm thinking of all these things I need to say, you know, and really I only needed to say like two things. You know what I mean? Like, I helped you grow your business, therefore you can help me grow my business. Silence, you know what I mean? And not keep, you know, trying to justify myself in a space, you know, and Dr. Joy, you know, just in the work I've done for her, like she's been such a mentor in that way of being able to stand in space and ask for her value. You know what I mean? Or Bahia, or like so many other, Black women that I'm lucky to be around, that it's like you can stand in any space, whether it's in your relationship or in your business work or your workspace, and just to be still in our values sometimes, and not feel like we have to do or say that one more thing. Like I think of the Donnie McClurkin song, like stand, like sometimes, like after you've done all you can, like you stand,
Yeah.
and it's a vulnerable space, but it's a powerful space.
I love this. You know what I realized too is that I realized that when you know your worth and you stand in your space and you allow people. I had a friend of mine recently do what I would do. So first I had a therapist who told me, Bahia, you do all these things because you love these people. What do you do for you because you love you? You love her so much. You love Bahia so much. And I was like, that felt very odd to me. Like, what do I do for me because I love me so much? Like, because I think about people, I love her so much. I'm gonna do this for her. I love him so much. Like when she said that, it felt really weird and awkward. And what I realized is that part of me standing in my faith and knowing that I do so much and knowing that people feel loved by me, people see that I need to have that done for me.
Yeah.
And that this kind of, I don't need that. I'll just take this little crumb that you give me and I'll make it a rainbow. Because that's kind of how I am. Like, I'll just sprinkle it around me and that it'll feel like a whole piece of bread. Like that's kind of like how I live, right? And so there's a lot of crumbs that I've been taking from a lot of places. And I had a friend of mine recently, literally, I just got rescheduled, this medical thing that it got rescheduled. And I was like, oh, and I called to vent. It's like, can you believe this happened? And literally, this man called the people, was like, this is inconvenience. Why should she have to deal with this? Like the level of all the stuff that he did. And then they were calling me, can we reschedule? Can we get you tomorrow? I was like, what? I couldn't, I was just like, I was so uncomfortable with that. And then so grateful. Yeah. Because I was annoyed, but it wasn't even like a charge I was like really trying to take up. I wasn't like, I was just like, oh man. But it was like, I've never had that. And I realized that so many of the women that I love and I looked up to, my mom, my aunts, my grandma, Ollie, everybody, nobody, and my mom actually now, Mr. Latif is taking very good care of her, but it hasn't been modeled for me to see a strong, capable, brilliant woman, someone taking care of them. Like, oh, you're not worried about this. I'm gonna do this for you. Like that, I was like, what? It just didn't feel natural to me. And I think that that's part of what I wanted to normalize for my child. I'm looking at my daughter and I'm looking at, I want her to see me taken care of, where she knows I'm not a lazy person. I do take care of I do all kinds of stuff. I have 5 jobs. Okay. But the reality is being able to know that I'm capable, but still allow for that space is also a vulnerable place for me, to allow that, right? To be helped and cared for. That self-care Jada was talking about. It would be hard for me to allow someone to do that for me, but that would be demonstrating the love that I have for me, right? Because that's what I would do for someone else. Any last thoughts? Because we're at the end of our time, we're over our time, but I don't care.
Sorry, go Dorothy, go.
Okay, Dorothy and then Summer and anyone else that would like to, we'll end it when everybody's done.
Okay. I just wanted to piggyback off of what Bahia was saying about worth. So I was thinking about this with the wellness question, like knowing that we are worthy. We're worthy of love. We're worthy of rest. We're worthy of support. We're worthy of being seen and heard, like that value and that worth, that getting to that place where that is where you're vulnerable. And I think a lot of times it's hard to see that. Like most people aren't going to be like, you know what, I'm worthy of this. Mm-hmm. Like it seems like, oh, I shouldn't say that. So it's hard to get to that place. Like you have to do the work to know that you are worthy, and even simple things as rest, like you are worthy of rest. You're worthy of support. It's not a negative thing to ask for help, and to, to give and to receive it. it's that finding your worth in that, and being comfortable enough to ask. The asking, that's important. And I've never been somebody that felt like tears were weakness. Like, I look at my dad and I don't see him as a weak man because he cries. I think that there is great strength in vulnerability. And that's not always modeled to everyone.
Yes.
It's not. But I'm so grateful that it was modeled to me. I love hugs. Yes. There are people where I'm like, no, I'm not going to hug you because you don't feel safe. So I'm not going to just let anybody in this space. And that's important. Like, my body is worthy of me being able to say no,
That's
and
right.
people are like, oh, you're not going to hug me? No, I'm not.
As a matter of fact, no.
Yeah. And it's like, well, you could have known me since I was a baby. No, you don't feel safe. And so, no, I'm not going to give you a hug.
That's right.
And so that's important. And I think even in that saying no, that can be a vulnerable space, but that's important. Like, to set those boundaries. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. It's wonderful. That's your baby. That's your baby. I know.
I am your daughter. You're right.
Okay, we hear from Summer, and I do want to hear from the other elder in the room.
Adrian.
Adrian.
I think about, like when everything that you guys have been saying, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And I'm thinking of things that are, like how they've like shaped my life. And I think about the conversations that we've had at 3 o'clock in the morning until 3 or 4 in the morning at Joy's house in the kitchen, standing around laughing, talking to, you know what I mean? Like doing whatever, and how healing that stuff was. And really how like, I mean, I do say, like, I really feel like you guys like saved my life. Like you did, and I was so like damaged. I had so much going on and I was in such a bad place. And I remember not always feeling like that. So that's how I knew I could be happy again, because I remembered that I wasn't always sad. So I was like, oh, wait a minute. I haven't always been sad before. But I remember always feeling like I wasn't worthy of the love from Joy and Bahia because of how much I loved them. And I remembered always feeling like they're going to find the secret. They're going to find out the secret. Why?
Imposter, huh?
Yep. They're going to find out why they don't need to love me, And I remember feeling that all the time. And I'd be like, yep, I'm one of you guys. Yep, but there would be that thing, but I would take it in. And it, like I said, it did literally save my life. And so it's interesting because now I'm not in that place, of course, but it's like trauma and healing and everything will just have you so jacked up. And so when Bahia calls me now, and I could listen to Bahia all day, and I'll really be like, I mean, of course, I'm just in the conversation, and she'll be like, oh my God, I've been talking for an hour. What's going on with you? And I'm like, nothing. And I remember there's like, it really does feel, it feels amazing to be able to like give that back to her because I literally was like down to the bone. You know what I mean? I was like sucking the life out. I was just going through so much, you know what I mean? I was like sucking the life out because I was like, I was dying. It was a horrible place, but it's also just like, what I'm saying is like love of men or of women, love is that romantic love is great. I'm in love. It's great. But the love of my female friends, there is just nothing like it. There is nothing like it. And it's so healing. So I'm like, when I talk about love, I could give the longest list. And yes, justice is there. The love that I have felt from some of the women in here, but it is like, I always say like, thank God I'm Black. And I'm like, thank God I'm a woman. You know what I always say, thank God I'm Black. I'm like, can you imagine? You know what I mean? Well, I just feel, I do feel, but I just feel like look at like, we're so lucky. And this isn't some fake like la-di-da, whatever thing. It's like, not everything is perfect, but I'm sitting here and I'm like, am I really sitting here talking to just and around some of my favorite people in the entire world? You know what I mean? Like that is love. You know what I mean? Like that.
And it's recorded.
Yes.
We got this forever. We can pass it on to our children. And,
Yes.
and Maya Angelou said your very words. She said there ain't nothing like being Black on a Saturday night.
Listen, I always say that. I always say, oh my God, I love being Black. I was like, shit is dangerous. But it's dangerous. But it's nothing like it. All right.
Nothing like it. Nothing like it. So Adrienne, can you close us out? And Sandy, are you still there, Sandy?
I hope she's gonna sing us something.
I want her to sing. You know we're gonna ask you to sing us out.
Oh wait, you're muted, Adrienne. Unmute.
Okay, here we go. I would like to approach my answer this way. When I think about being a Black woman is complex, and in some cases it can be exhausting. We are competing in the workplace, we're competing with life, we're competing, trying to fit in, trying to find a place. And I think that what I've learned to do is to try to compartmentalize some of that, but in a positive way. So competition and those hard knocks and those things over here, and that's life, and that's what we have to do. But I also think it's okay to say, to turn that off and say, I need to be loved. I'm okay. I realize I'm an acquired taste, but I'm all right with me. So whether that's going and having a glass of Uncle Nearest, that's my new favorite whiskey, or whether I go on a 3.5 mile walk, or whether I go and find my most favorite beautician, Bahia knows, and I try a hairstyle that I never dreamed of seeing myself in. But that's okay, because it's all right.
That's right.
And the collective synergy that you get from Black women is nothing like it.
Nothing like it.
As I wish we could buy it and bottle it, but I do think that we, just like we face all the other challenges and our challenges that life forces us to navigate, I think it's okay to pull those blinders down in the right setting and say, it's okay to feel vulnerable. That is a part of life. And instead of trying to fight it, why not embrace it and use it to make yourself stronger and better? And if nothing else, it keeps you from going nuts.
That's right.
True story.
So much. Now, I don't know what happened to Sandy. I know she was working in between stuff.
Uh-oh. Come on, Sandy. Come on, Shimon back.
Come on.
And it's funny. Oh, wait. What did Renee said that she has a replacement? Oh, safe space is brave space. Yeah. But you know what though? That's not that much bravery though. When most people, we ask people to be brave, it's not that much. It's just the brave. We are always in a brave space, us, right? It's like, for me, I think that there's so much connected on white people feeling like, let's be brave. But really, it's just like, you're just willing to be uncomfortable for 5 minutes. So sometimes I'm like, it's not that much bravery, but I do agree that it's better for people to at least not be, to come into a space with an openness that I think bravery does, you know. And I want to just say too, to the youngest person here, which would be my goddaughter Mayada, is to say that you are, that part of what you have in this space, I'm so happy you're here representing younger generations, is to think about all that we have learned through kind of our issues and things that we've gone through, things that you've seen, and to know that you have people here who are going to support you and lift you up, that you can be vulnerable with us, and that we are here to help guide you, right, and support you. So sometimes these things are great for connecting folks, and some people have known you since you're little, but some people don't, and just being able to reach out and at the very least collect $20 from everybody when you're broke.
Hey, look,
you need a network of people you can get $20 from. So that too help. So, Sandy's back. Sandy's back.
Sandy,
Hey, Renee disappeared. Renee, come back to us. And
You-
Jada, y'all
you
gotta
would
come
say-
back.
You would sing.
I'm loved. I'm loved. My Persian, one of my first Persian Baha'i friends brought me rice and chicken. So I am loved. I got Tadiq.
So you escaped to go eat. Okay.
I
Okay.
forgot she was coming and I forgot to tell
We
Tony.
wanted you to sing, but
we
your
wanted
mouth
you
is
to
full.
sing.
How you gonna
Oh,
sing?
no, it's not full. It's just,
Okay, good.
just a little piece of Tadiq.
Okay.
While you're getting ready, Sandy, I'll tell you that one of your melodies was in my house last night. You popped in last night. Your Armed with the Power of Thy Name melody popped in last night. My daughter was asking me for a new prayer, and I was like, in my Rolodex. Like, oh, because I was sing or something, but I was like, and came to my mind, Armed with the Power of My Name, and she loves it. She loves the melody you put to that.
How old is your daughter?
She will be 5 on May 6th.
Well, May 6th. Oh, another little child.
Nice.
You know, I wrote that
That's what I used to
melody.
play for my children, her whole prayer CD when they were in utero, and it was the only thing after I had them that would get them to stop crying. So.
Oh, yay! That was intentional. I just want you to know that I wrote that melody on my way, long drive, like an hour drive to go to do a fireside. And I had Ayana with me, and she was in the back seat, and I was singing it over and over. I just came to my head, and I just started singing it, and then she started singing it. So when we got to the fireside, she sang it for the fireside. So
And Ayana can sing. Okay.
You
Sang it
should
at my
sing that
wedding.
one.
They sang a duet of it at my a duet at my wedding.
Yes.
You should sing that one, Sandy, now.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a very powerful song for Black women
What one?
and for everyone who's the one that you just mentioned. And so that'd
Sing
be
that
good.
one.
It's in the middle of a prayer. It's a little, you know how they take the little bitty pieces of a prayer? It's a longer prayer, but it's just one, it's like the punchline for me.
I like Refresh and Gladden. Of course, that's my request.
You can do both.
Okay, because the other one's short.
Okay.
Oh, can I tell a story? Do I have time?
No.
It's a joy show, so she gets the refresh and gladden my spirit.
Only because I'm hungry too.
That's cool. No, I want Joy to eat. No, this child can eat. No, don't get it twisted. I fed her when she was pregnant. I know. Okay. Oh God, refresh and gladden my spirit. Purify my heart, illumine my power. I lay all my affairs in thy hand. Thou art my guide and my refuge. I will no longer be sorrowful and grieved. I will be a happy and joyful being. A joyful being. Oh God, I will no longer be full of anxiety, nor will I let trouble harass me. I will not dwell on the unpleasant things of life. Oh God, thou art more friend to me than I am to myself. I dedicate myself to thee. Oh Lord.
Lovely. Okay, but you can do armed with the power of thy name because it's short.
Armed with the power.
It's really short, and then we can head it out. I mean, you know.
If I was gonna do it, I didn't want to, you know.
No, I was waiting for it.
We're waiting.
All
We're waiting for it.
Armed with the power of thy name, nothing can ever hurt me. And with thy love in my heart, all the world's afflictions can in no wise alarm me. Armed with the power of thy name, nothing can ever hurt me. And with thy love in my heart, all the world's afflictions can in no wise alarm me. Armed with the power of thy name, nothing can ever hurt me. And with thy love in my heart, all the world's afflictions can in no wise alarm me.
Yes. Yes. Oh, this has been great. I love you all.
Oh, it was a love fest.
you
I
all.
love it.
Mwah, mwah. Can't wait to hug you guys again. Someday, someday. I'm coming after you.
It was perfect. Thank you. all.
Love you.
Love
Love you guys.
Love
Bye,
you. It's good to
everybody.
see you
Bye-bye.
all.
Bye.